there, everybody. Welcome to Suds and Buds. I'm Brian Stevens.
Mike Steenberg.
And we're just two average guys with not so average lives. I'm going to change that until we have jobs again. Not so average lives who really love beer. And before we get into the bulk of the show, I want to make sure to remind you to make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. You go to sudsandbuds.net/YouTube and hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, so every time we go live, every time there's a new video, you get notifications and you'll know about that stuff. Also, make sure you like us over on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, pretty much just populate the socials. Kind of like, populate the socials. I think that's going to be the new slogan, Mike.
Started an Instagram for my dog.
Yeah? What's it called?
It's called my dog's Instagram.
Okay. It's my dog's Instagram.
Dogo Pequeño.
Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, I got you. Okay. So make sure you follow that too. And Bailey, you want to throw an ad for me so I can talk about the sponsors real quick?
My dog isn't a sponsor.
So while I'm just waiting on Bailey to throw this so I can look at this camera and tell you to please make sure that you go over to sessionace.com for great in-ears, kind of like the ones I'm wearing right now, and a set that's heading over towards Mike right now. There's all kinds of other great stuff there. You don't even have to be a musician to buy this stuff. But if you got a musician in your life you really care a lot about, and you want to get them something, maybe it's their birthday, maybe it's a wedding anniversary, maybe it's they just got divorced and they can't afford their own set of in-ear monitors, you can go to sessionace.com and pick up a set of those. There's all kinds of other great stuff. And then also make sure you go over to Speenberg.com and pick up one of Mike's t-shirts, one of his Waterbed Baby t-shirts. Mike, are you running a special, or are you running any kind of
no specials?
No specials.
Not during the pandemic. There's no pandemic specials going on in the store. Everything's I've upped my prices by 25%.
Oh, okay.
And you only get one sleeve on every t-shirt now. You only get one sleeve. You don't get a full t-shirt. It's just a sleeve. Regular.
Just one.
That's also taking the necks out of my t-shirts now too, so you can't get a full t-shirt. You just 20% more, and they're made in China.
I with my white t-shirts under my dress shirts, I always cut out the necks so that they go further down. I call it the no-neck tee.
I like to buy extra. I'm a medium, right? But because I'm only like 170 pounds, but I'll buy an extra double X t-shirt, men's undershirt, and I'll safety pin it like a onesie. That's how I wear it, so it stays tucked in.
Hey Bailey, check the live stream, see if you hear an echo on that. So today is a really important day.
Did you hear what I do with my t-shirts?
I did hear what you do. Your t-shirts.
I wear them like a onesie. I safety pin them.
I don't know how to respond to that because there's internet groups for that kind of thing.
Go ahead with your story.
I'm just moving, man. I'm just moving because it's Mother's Day. I'm trying to get through stuff. I'm trying to move, trying to move because it's Mother's Day. And I sure did. And she was doing the same thing she's always doing. She was sitting there and reading.
Oh, wow, no kidding. Our moms are so different. My mother was drinking.
Well, that if you're going to do something constructive, reading or drinking is the one or two things I could think that would be something worth doing.
My mother drinks Bud Light, so there's probably more alcohol in the book that your mother's reading than there is in the alcohol my mother's drinking. So,
how is Brenda doing?
She's good. She's she's all right, man. I haven't lived within a 10-mile radius of my mother in 20 years. I was living in Atlanta. And now I live too close. And she called Amber and I the other day. First of all, we're in a pandemic and I'm a comic. So I don't have tons of money coming in right now.
Right.
So she calls us and said the house right down the street is for sale. And if we want to buy the house right down the street from her, we should jump on it quick.
Yeah. And you're saying,
you don't have enough money in the world you don't have enough cold cash in the world, man, to put me down the street from my mother in the house.
She loved that.
I love my mother, and wrong, it's Mother's Day, but at the same time, like, man, it's just, I don't know, it's weird. You don't live near your mom.
No, not at all. And
And I have not
she's
lived near my
5
mother
hours
since
away.
I was 18 years old.
Right.
I went to school and I moved to Atlanta. So it's odd.
My dad, my mom and dad both, but definitely my dad, if there was a way, because they have a really big house. I mean, it's basically like 2.5 houses. If there was any way my dad could have me and my brother and my whole family, all us living under the same roof, he'd do it. That's how much he likes hanging out with us, I think. Or
I'm just noticing that my parents are becoming more and more reminiscent of my grandparents.
Oh, yeah.
Like my parents do the same things that my grandparents did before my parents. The same stuff my parents used to bitch and complain about my grandparents doing as parents.
Yeah.
How they do the same thing. And when my dad gets up out of a chair or off the couch or anywhere to walk around, I see my granddad.
Yeah. Well, and if you were to look in the mirror and stare long enough, you'd see your dad. It's just how we're wired.
When my brother sees the mailman, he sees his real dad.
In other depressing news, we've had a lot of death this week. How's that for a segue? We've had a lot of death in the music industry. We had Andre Harrell, who's started Uptown Records, discovered folks like Notorious B.I.G. and Mary J. Blige, and worked with Puffy Combs, Sean Puffy Combs.
Have you ever heard the Jay-Z Unplugged? Have you ever heard that?
Dude, that's one of the best hip-hop records ever.
The Unplugged Jay-Z?
Yeah, the MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, because Mary J. Blige comes and sings it. It's really, really good.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I was following your fucking micromanaged outline.
Yeah.
Of the show, and you named all these musicians and your people dying.
Yeah.
Florian Snyder.
Yeah, Kraftwerk. The whole reason we have
okay. These are all people that died this week.
Yeah, within the last week.
Okay. I thought it was the pandemic. That's why I was going to get on you for not putting John Prine on here.
No. I was looking at deaths from the last week. I mean,
Brian
some of them were
Howe.
Pandemic. What now?
Oh, he died. Oh, Bad Company. Okay.
Yeah. Brian Howe, who was
Bad Company anymore.
No. He left in like
he's Bad Company till the day he dies.
Yeah. No, he left like the mid 90s. But there was that whole resurgence of Bad Company in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, they kind of tried to glom.
I started getting into Bad Company. Them and Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah. Oh, Mark Farner. Yeah.
Grand Funk Railroad and Bad Company at the same time in my life.
We lost Hilliard Sweet Pea Atkinson. Now, that name doesn't mean very much.
The guy was a baller.
But if I said the line,
you know who Sweet Pea Lloyd Daniels is? Do you know who that is?
No, I have no idea.
He's a basketball player. Played for the Spurs for a while. He has a book about him. You should read it.
I will. I'm getting back into basketball. That'll have to be another topic for another day.
Busy reading your outlines.
But if I said, "Open the door, get on the floor," what would your next line be that you would say to me?
I have open the door, get on the floor.
Yeah.
Do that funky something. Am I close?
I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest in because
here's my wallet. Don't shoot.
Here. We're going to bring our guest in because he knows the answer. Swift, what's the answer?
Everybody walked their dinosaur.
That's right.
Okay.
Was not was.
Well, I don't even think our listeners know that you play with it's the platters, Brian.
Yeah. Platters, drifters,
they don't know
coasters.
That you're not as white as you look.
I'm not.
You actually have rhythm and a little bit of flow.
I'm only white from the neck up, man.
Yeah, hey, that's a good thing. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
But Brian played on one of my first solo CDs that I did. It was a Christian artist. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Your house with Corey Lowry from Caesar.
Corey Lowry, who's with what's the band he's with?
Caesar.
What now?
Caesar.
Oh, Caesar. Yeah, that's right. He's been with a bunch of other heavy metal band or hard rock bands too, but Caesar's the one he's with now. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. The reason that I wanted to bring.
I still sing that song.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a band now called Hope's Anchor.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the reason that I wanted to bring you on the show was because one of the deaths that we had this week, the biggest one, probably the biggest loss we'll have all year, was Little Richard.
Yeah.
You know, people can say that Elvis was the king of rock and roll. I would beg to differ, but I'll tell you that the architect of rock and roll was Little Richard.
Yeah, you know, and you know, this discussion would happen a lot, and Little Richard's sweet sometimes, and he said that Elvis is the king, but he created the blueprint of everything. Elvis, the reason they call Elvis the king of rock and roll is because his lifestyle and how he lived.
Right.
He used to mimic a lot of the things the Sultan would do,
Did they
and
have a relationship?
met some kings. I'm sorry.
Did they have a Did Little Richard did he know Elvis? Were they
They
acquaintances?
did.
Were
They
they
were
friends?
not.
What was their relationship?
They were not friends, but they knew each other. Of course, he sung his songs. Elvis sung some of Little Richard's songs too.
Elvis sang a lot of people's songs, correct? Like he did that. I mean, he did that with a lot of people. So did Little Richard have an opinion on Elvis? Was he kind of? I mean, did he? Come on now. Did
he have an opinion of Elvis?
I read a lot. His dad sold moonshine. I know that.
Yeah.
And I know that I know that he had a hotel called the Tip Inn.
Yep, that's right.
Yes,
well,
I dug that.
Yeah, he did have an opinion about it. It wasn't always negative. It was just basically like, hey, if it wasn't for him and Pat Boone, I wouldn't have been famous. They made the song famous, you know. It was during that era where, you know, you come in through the kitchen and you get dressed in the broom closet, and then you go out and play in front of 2,000 people, and there's a line, white and black over here, you know. So it was in the 50s. So it was tough. You know, there was no social media, of course, you know that. There was no, in fact, I just discovered that Little Richard actually did the first full-length music video, The Girl Can't Help It, with Jane Mansfield.
Really?
So yes, he was the first one to do this. He did a video where it was part of the movie, The Girl Can't Help It, right? So this movie had a trailer of a music video, but then they actually released it, and he was in that video singing, and then, you know, back then that was kind of weird. It wasn't, you know, but he starred in that video, and it was one of the first full-length music videos before Thriller and all of that. I mean, so he was always on the cutting edge. And as everyone knows, Prince took Little Richard, James Brown, and Jimi Hendrix and wrapped it up and became Prince.
Right.
So he's always been on the cutting edge, and you know, it really hit home for me because I toured with him for 17 plus years. I got the job when I was 19 years old. Yeah. And, in fact, when I met you, I mean, I was still touring with him.
Yeah, that's right.
When we were doing that song together. So thanks for having me on here. And I sung back up and danced for him. I did whatever. I mean, Little Richard was wild, man. No shows were alike. They were always different. And he would be like one night, hey, I want you to dance all over the stage. I'll bring you. And I'm thinking, I'm not a dancer. I mean, what are you gonna do? Say no? You know?
You do what the boss asks you to.
You know, he was a beautiful human being, man. He was a great guy, and I'm gonna really, really miss him. This is kind of early for me actually talking about it. It's the first person. So, Brian, you get that?
Yeah, I'm glad. It's an honor.
I have a few more that I'm gonna be doing now, but you hit me up
Brian,
first.
Can you hear me?
So, hey,
I can't hear you.
Yeah, we got you, Mike. You sound good.
Mike? What do you not hear?
Him.
You don't hear him, but you hear me.
Hey, babe, you're good. It's all good. There, man. I appreciate it.
I don't know.
I don't think it's you. I think it's just something.
Is it my system? Can you hear my system? Can you hear?
No,
Yeah, I
it's
can hear it now, but it went
Okay.
away. We were good for a while, and then when he started telling whatever story he was telling, it went away.
oh okay.
Oh, yeah, and you asked the question, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's how the show works.
I heard every word. It's all good.
Now it's in Brian's
You missed the
head.
good parts, Mike.
Yeah, I'll have to go back. I'll go back and watch it. I'll go back and watch the show.
No, he won't.
But
Well,
yeah,
look, dude, I really appreciate you coming on and just talking for a few minutes. I mean, give me one really good Little Richard story that where you went,
Whoa,
okay,
wait,
this guy's
slow down. I haven't
okay.
heard an answer to the first question, so I have one more question. For
Oh, okay.
people that, I wanted to ask this question. It's important. From a valet to a backup singer to someone who makes his career doing what you've done in your career, making music, and how does someone who right now is like waiting tables and like, you know what I mean? Like you went from a valet to a backup singer to you made that happen somehow. Does that make sense? Like creating the relationship and that type of thing. Like that's pretty damn cool in my opinion.
yeah.
I don't know how you did it, but
For me, I am really like. So when I was younger and 17, I wanted to be in the music business. I have always been in the music business since I was 13 years old, literally, and doing talent shows and all this stuff. So fast forward into your question, I got saved, and then I really how I met Little Richard. I literally was in Hollywood. I caught a bus from Knoxville, Tennessee, with me and Jay Nelson, who you'll be seeing me doing interviews with. We were best friends, and we were in a group together. And we always just dreamed of, being in music business. So we caught a bus from Knoxville, Tennessee. We lived in the projects, saved our money, summer job, and all this stuff, and talent shows. Rode out to Hollywood. We were so overwhelmed by everything that we just went back in our room because we had just got saved. And we prayed to God, look, just let us meet anybody. And we literally walked out the door, walked down Sunset Boulevard, and Little Richard yelled over his balcony, hello down there. And we were like, holy crap, it's Little Richard. So we asked for an autograph.
I think a lot of times too now is people lose that people now, kids nowadays lose the fact that like when I first started doing stand-up and with music, like I just want to be around it. And any way I could be around it to get into it, that was what I would have to do.
You got to be gutsy, and you can never give up. I'm still in music, and I have a business too now. I do things to sustain my dream. Let me say that. And Tyler Perry even tell you that. I mean, he worked until he worked so he could pay for his dreams. So you got to do that, and your bills, of course, because you need somewhere to live. Because everyone knows what a musician is without a girlfriend. You know that?
Homeless.
But anyway, back to your question, and I'll keep this short. I believe God was involved in all of that.
See, he's gone again,
when we met Little Richard, he said, I stopped you because God told me to stop you. And we had just prayed. That's what he said. And so from then on, the relationship evolved. We hit it right off, man. We sung for him. We were like, look, as soon as you open that door, we're going to start singing. And we started singing right off the bat. And he was like, come on in here. What are y'all doing? We was just shocked because he sent some guy down to get us. And we waited in the lobby for like an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you've known Little Richard, if you ever met him, he'll make you wait for an hour before he come out because he's putting his makeup on, getting his hair ready, straightening out his do and all this, because when you see him, he's going to be bigger than life, man. And
right.
That's one thing about him, man. The way you saw him on stage, he was like that all the time. He would hold court in his suite. The beautiful thing about him being a boss and being a mega superstar as he was and a legend, we would never stay at Motel 6. If he was at Four Seasons, we were at Four Seasons.
Nice.
He took care of all of his people. Man, it was the best job you could have at 19 years old. I mean, like literally touring the world. I would just tell young people today, whatever your goals are and whatever you're trying to achieve, just make a checklist and check them off, and you'll start seeing everything start developing. It'll start coming together for you because now you're walking on a path of accomplishment. You're starting to see things get behind you, and as things start getting behind you, you start building a rapport. So you're
Yeah.
stretching yourself out more and more, and you're starting to know people. I mean, that's how I met Brian. It was just one of those things, being around music, because I always loved local music. Even when I would come off tour, I would go find who was playing or whatever, and good musicians. I always loved them. And another thing, I was always out in local music areas or venues, I should say, is because Little Richard would always be looking. So just in case, I'll be like, "Hey man, I know this guitar player."
Yep.
And once you were in with him, you were in.
Yeah.
You were family. And the main thing he always would ask you, how's your relationship with your mother? Because he was a mama's boy.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if you didn't have a relationship with your mother, you were out. And not in a situation where you couldn't help the situation of not having a relationship with your mother. So
Right.
he wasn't cold on that end, but like if you were like didn't love your mother, didn't hold her high, and you had a relationship with her and you knew her and she raised you.
Right. It says something about you.
It does. It does.
It does.
And I was listening to you guys talk about your mother. I was cracking up, by the way, Mike. That was hilarious. But I mean, I got a million stories. I'm gonna let you guys shoot me some couple of questions, and I'll try to keep it short.
Yeah. Well, give me the first thing that you really saw Richard be the over the top Richard that let you know that guy. There's a reason why he's a rock star.
Man, we went on tour with Chuck Berry, BB.
Give me my money. Give me my money.
BB, that's right. BB King,
Still can't hear him.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Really?
And the promoter was basically like, I don't know who's gonna headline, right?
Right.
So no matter what, we would have a meeting. Richard would come in, he'd call us in the dressing room and be like, "Look, we can ready to tear this stage up tonight. You understand me? It don't matter who comes when we get through with that stage, it's gonna be on fire. I'm gonna make all these old dudes work harder than me."
Yep.
And he would come out, and this is when I knew he was a rock star. He walked out on the stage. First of all, the band would play for like 7, 8 minutes, almost 2 songs.
Yeah.
Before he come out, and then it was this big build. He had 2 drummers, 2 bass players, 2 guitar players, keyboard players, horn sections, me, backup singer, me and Jay Nelson, another backup singer, and dancer. We would do featured dance things within songs. I would come out on Keep a Knockin'. He would come out on Lucille, and we would do all these modern dance steps. So he always had an up on the old dudes because he would try to modernize the show. He came out and stood up on the piano.
Nice.
Came out, did this. In a $15,000 rhinestone suit, and then get down on the piano like, I mean, and he's like, riding the crowd. I mean, oh man, it's getting me all teared up thinking about it. But man, this dude always commanded.
Missing a great show.
Always commanded the show, man. And every night for the last 17 years, I would be looking at him on stage and going, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. I can't believe. I love it. Every night. I love it. And he will always look at you, give you a wink or something, let you know that he's killing it. Like you would know he's killing it because he would do something to make the crowd go crazy. And then he would turn and wink at you, be like, man, I'm going to miss that dude, man. This is too soon for me. He just passed away yesterday.
I know, man. Dude, I'm sorry. I really, really am. The world lost somebody great, but you lost a friend, and I'm really sorry about that.
I talked to him a lot, me and Jay, and he always talked to all his band members, because everybody was with him 30 plus, 17, 20 years, and he treated everybody like family, man. I mean, we were close. He wouldn't separate himself from you even though he was a legend, he did not separate himself. He made sure that you knew he loved you, and he loved you, and he was loyal to you, and he would never let you down. If you ever needed anything, I mean, he would be there. He would make a phone call for you, like on stupid stuff. Like you're going on the road for 3 months. You're like, man, I need you to call Georgia Power. Give me the phone, and then he make the whole place go in an uproar. Just be like, well, Richard's on the phone. You can hear it. I need you to take care of Sean Jackson. And just little stuff like that, man. And he didn't have to do. Like he would go above and beyond to let you know that he loved you as,
Yeah.
a human being. And man, that was strong. And that's a real rock star to me. That someone that can humble themselves, not let everything else get to them, and still, be down to earth and let hey, I'm human just like you. I love just like you. All I'm asking you to do is to respect me as a human being,
Yeah.
and I'll treat you right.
Dude, it- you know what? That's about the best tribute I think anybody could give somebody. That's awesome, man. I thank you for spending time with us, and for sharing with us, man. It's a loss. It's an incredible loss for all of us. And we wouldn't have any of the music that we have now were it not for him. Him, and there's a lot of other people.
No,
There was
no,
Earl
you're
Palmer.
right.
There was Earl Palmer. There was dude.
No,
I
you're
mean,
not
we could just kind
excluding
of
anyone.
Alan
You're just
Toussaint.
saying.
We could go down that whole list of all those people that helped make those records.
But listen to this though, Brian. I mean, think about this, man. When Little Richard came out, there was Liberace. He was the big thing, and he went into the studio, and they were, until he started doing rock babaloo and doing all of that stuff, it was straight big band sounds and
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how he was singing when he first started recording, just
Yep.
straightforward. And they was like, Lord Price told him, Richard, do that stuff you was doing at the juke joint. Let's hear that. And when he
Yeah.
did that, it started a whole new. It's kind of like Prince. Prince had this drum sound, and this
Hmm.
sound, no one else to this day
Yeah.
can duplicate. I don't know what he did with that drum machine or where he got that drum machine, but that drum machine that he had,
Yeah.
no one else had that sound. No one can
Right.
duplicate. I mean, you can try it.
Yeah.
You can get close and you'd be like, oh man, that just sound like Prince a little bit. But it was
Yeah.
kind of the same. I mean, you're right. He was one of the founding fathers. He mapped out a style of music for us today that will carry on to generations. He's an American treasure. He's
Yeah.
a national treasure, a legend. And I just so thankful a little guy like me from Knoxville, Tennessee, that had the guts to be prepared. That's another thing I would say is my question answer. Always be prepared because you never know who you're gonna
Right.
meet.
Right.
Be prepared. Practice constantly, as you do. You practice a lot, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. A whole lot actually.
But
a lot more than I ever have. That's for sure.
you know, I'm seriously though. I am thankful, and this is the first actual interview. I got several I'm about to do,
Yeah.
but this is one of the ones. I've been knowing you for a minute, man. I was trying to figure out, which is really this shows you how old I am. When you sent me something, I was like, wow, see, why is he? I'm friends with him on Facebook, and then I opened the pictures like, really Swift. I shouldn't have probably told you that, but
That's all right.
I was like, really, you know this dude? Come on. But I think I was just caught up in everything else that's going on, and
Yeah, you
all
got
of
you
the
got a lot.
bad
There's
stuff.
a lot going by us right now. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I
man. But
can't hear him
I'm
at all.
honored to do this, and I know Mike got some
Can't hear
serious
him
questions
talking
back
about
there. He's in blue screen right now, green
Yeah.
screen, and but there's tons of stories that I could go on. Can you see my backdrop back here in my studio?
Yeah. Yeah. I can.
See my Little Richard plaque up there, and my. So I'll see if I can take it over here and kind of show you. right here. Let me see. Can you see it? Okay, that one.
Yeah.
That's Good Golly Miss Molly. But then right here, the Beatles. Everyone knows this story. Little Richard could have had 60% of the Beatles. And he told me this story. He said, man, back then it was Jackie Wilson and me and Otis Redding and everybody. He's like, those were 4 white guys that couldn't sing. It's like they couldn't sing to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to sign them. but think about what the competition was in that day. I mean, you had all these great R&B singers that was actually in rock at the time. It wasn't R&B.
Right.
They would consider rock and roll. I mean, and here you got the Beatles coming along and doing that. And he said they were doing that, woo, back then. I want to hold you, doing all of that stuff then. And he was like, man, they stealing my stuff.
Yeah.
They're stealing my style. But you think he was, 25, 24 back then. So, you young and trying to make it, you still struggling. I mean, not struggling as an artist, but, so I can imagine in Hot Tub Time Machine going back and being in his position and sitting there like, I'm Little Richard and you guys are here in Germany and you're trying to sing and it's okay.
It's okay.
That's
nice, boys. That's nice.
Posters, we got real people that sing. Meanwhile, they're the Beatles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just like Puffy passed on Justin Bieber, and Usher was like, "I'll do it."
Yeah.
And he passed on Kid Rock too.
Another big mistake. Another big mistake.
Yeah. he didn't need the money. He's fine. He got B.I.G.
It worked out. It worked
Mary
out.
J. Blige. He had quite a few. He's okay. And but anyway.
Well, dude, if people wanted to hear your band, I want to make sure we plug your band before we get out of here with you.
Okay.
How would they go and make sure that they hear the music that you're making now?
www.hopes, HOPES, anchorband.com.
Cool.
HopesAnchorBand.com. And you can check us out. And our music is alternative rock, Christian rock music, produced, co-written with Corey Larry. A lot of good stuff there. And I'm doing a solo project, Swift Andre, that's coming out. It's going to be a little bit different. And I got another project that I'm coming out. I'm doing with a guy I grew up with, the guy I was telling you about, Jay Nelson. I wasn't even supposed to say that. Dang. Can you erase that?
It's just me and you. There's nobody else watching, dude. It's just two of us.
But no, God is really opening up some doors. And, unfortunately, this really hit home. And, I've talked with family and stuff. And, man, it's a big loss. I mean, but it was the way he passed away. We kind of knew it was coming, but it's still hard when it happens, like any death. I mean, that's,
right.
I'm just, like I said, I'm happy and I'm blessed and I'm honored that I had the chance to do that, man. And those memories rush in, just having that story right there. I could see, I remember seeing him saying all these things, and there's so many others. But hey, we're short on time, right? We don't have that much time.
Yeah, we're going to have to get out of here, that's for sure. You and I both have things to do since it's Mother's Day. And I think Mike's already gone on to do whatever he needs to go do.
Yeah,
now,
he can't hear anything. He's not happy with this session right now.
He's never happy. It's fine. It's cool. I'm used to it.
But it's
sort of the running gag of this show.
We should talk more than what we're talking here, but
dude,
the pandemic has brought all my old friends back to me.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, offline, I'll make sure to reach out to you. We definitely need to see what we can do together during all this free time that we've got.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to lay down some good drums for me. Don't worry.
Dude, I got you, man.
I've
I got you
already
taken
thought
care of.
about it. I already. It was already on my list to do.
Good. Cool, dude. Well, dude,
All
get out of
right.
here and go grill. Go grill.
Okay. Thank
Have a
you
good
so
time.
much. God bless you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great one.
All right, we'll see you
Later.
later. Just give me one shot of me. All right, guys. Well, we're running short on time, and whatever technical business is happening on Mike's end is happening on his end. So that's pretty much it for the show this time. And yeah, Mother's Day, I'd probably need to get out there and do a little grilling myself and spend a little time with the missus. So please make sure that you subscribe to us on Facebook. And like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on all the socials, share us with your friends. And if you haven't called your mother at this point, make sure you dime her up. If she is living and breathing and has a telephone, make sure that you go and right after this, call your mama. Tell her how much you love her and that you want to wish her a happy Mother's Day. So that's everything we got for this week. SS Boom, thanks so much. Drink up, everybody. We'll see you next time.